Tough crowd. But there's so few of you left, I think I could take you. Anyway, right, I'm not here to sum up. I'm not even going to take half an hour. I reckon I could probably do a spread bet and come in around 15 because I'm not going to do bullshit. And frankly, that doesn't leave a lot of material left. So, right, okay. I'm not here to sum up. I'm here to lay down a bit of a challenge. I'm here looking for leaders in the digital age, leaders who are actually going to do something. Because I think, as we've seen in a lot of the presentations, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of data. It's the same data we've been seeing for 20 years. I think someone even cited a book that I read in my first job in PR, 1995, people. We need action. And I, just as an opening question, so I'm going to leave you with questions rather than summing up anything. I'm flicking through my notes on here as well. But my first question is, how will business academics describe media and marketing in the mid-20-teens if they haven't been automated, which they might be? How will they describe it? Well, they probably won't use the kind of terms that we throw around, the connected age, the era of the customer, the cusp of the singularity. They won't call it that. They'll see a dark age where the old order collapsed and reason retreated to a faithful few who were left at the end of the day at the Influencer Wave conference and who took up the torch of reason and took it into a new enlightenment. They will look back on this age and they will say, fake news and fake views. Could anybody tell me what was actually real back then? Because they were putting out ads, half of which didn't reach the customer and half of which were seen by bots, probably the same bots that were running the elections at the time. It's an era of mistrust and complexity, of promise and utopia going off the rails. So we need digital leaders. We properly need digital leaders. And I thought, thinking about what to say about influencer marketing, I figured you probably have got the hang of it by 6 o'clock at night. I figured you'd probably get the hang of it, so I thought what would be a more interesting question or a more interesting thought to leave you with is the idea that if you can come out of today, or if you've already aced it, if you're already able to handle influencer marketing, my hypothesis, my friends, is that influencer capability, the ability of your brand or your agency or whatever to manage this gnarly, complex problem, is probably quite a good indicator of whether your brand or your company will survive the next 10 years. And that's not really hyperbole. My top book recommendation, apart from the Agile Business Transformation, which honestly is the textbook for strategy nerds this year going into Agile and transformation. Seriously read it. But if you want a nice, light, punchy read that's going to scare the bejesus out of you, read The Four by Scott Galloway, who describes the new age of the four giant web companies overweening. Scott Galloway's got a way with words. He describes advertising as a tax on the poor. If you can possibly afford it, you won't see any. You know, I had two friends from Brighton, and of course my friends are stereotypically camp and in a relationship, and I saw them on an advert in Bake Off, which is the only live TV I've watched in about a decade, and they were both camping it up, talking about the National Lottery or something. And I was like, what? Took a picture of the screen, texted it to a friend and said, "What? Did they tell you about this?" And he goes, "Yeah, they're denying it." What, you're denying? They didn't think anyone would see it. They didn't think any of their friends would actually see a TV ad. They thought they could get away with it. Amazing. Anyway, it's not just brands. It's not just brands, though. I mean, it's not just advertising that's taking a pummeling. You look at the FT. Read the FT. Don't read Campaign. Don't read The Drum. Do read The Drum. It's a wonderful magazine. Please feature me. But do read these publications. But read the FT if you want to know about the future of marketing advertising. Activist investors are punishing advertising media groups and punishing groups of brand groups and FMCG brands that rely on advertising for their work. This is what zero-based budgeting is all about. But it's about more than just stripping out cost. It's about, spending it on the wrong things. You strip out 100 million from P&G's ad budget, nothing happened. So brands themselves, what are they going to be? What is our going to be job going to be? Are we going to be dealing with like managing an endless long tail of whatever? We don't have time to get into that. Influencer marketing is a complex problem, and this is one of the things that you as digital leaders need to be able to deal with. Complex problems are different from complicated problems. Neil, who co-wrote that amazing book, The Agile Business, spoke at DOTS, our Brilliant Noises conference last month, and he talked about the difference between a complicated problem and a complex problem. A complicated problem is sending a rocket to the moon. It's really hard, takes 400,000 people and X% of GDP, but once you've done it, you can probably do it again. And a complex problem is raising a child. It gives you absolutely no chance of doing the next one in the same way. They're completely different. They're complex. A complicated problem is, when's Halley's Comet coming next? Without looking at an almanac, get your maths books out, write it down. That's a complicated problem. A complex problem is what WPP's share price is going to be in 3 months' time. Lower. But what? We don't know, because it's markets. So anyway, complex versus complicated. You need to be able to deal with complex problems. And I put it to you that influencer marketing is a complex problem. Oh, just in case you're feeling a bit down on not being able to handle complex problems, I saw a lovely thing in the Wall Street Journal the other day, on the Wall Street, whatever, about Isaac Newton, who wrote Principia Mathematica, came up with the amazing mathematician, genius of his age, also ran the Bank of England and ended counterfeiting of gold. Bright lad, bit of an overachiever, bit embarrassing, but he lost all his money. He lost all his money after a lifetime of brilliant betting by putting it all into the South Sea Company, which was the biggest scam of its age, or possibly of any age. We're actually still paying for the South Sea bubble. If you don't know what it is, there's something called extra credits on YouTube, will explain it to you really, really hilariously. But yeah, I could calculate the motions of the heavenly bodies, but not the madness of the people, or markets, or anything complex. We have to deal with complex problems. And there are a lot of complex problems coming your way. When I want to reassure a client, when I want to whisper, calm them down, I draw them a picture of a diagram with a picture of a diagram. Yeah, that's tautology. I draw them a picture of a radar vector, and I say there are 3 stages in this radar vector. There's the now, the near, and the far. On the far is the kind of edge, crazy technology, human augmentation. And the near is the crazy kind of technology you need to get your hands on right now and work out what you're going to do with it. I don't know, influencer marketing platforms. See Cubist, out in the break, not far from here. But that's kind of a simple thing. It comes into a narrow thing. There's all these possibles, and then it narrows down. It's kind of like a funnel. It's not a funnel. It's not a funnel. It's a blunderbuss, and it's pointing right at your face. And all of the problems, all of the complex things are going to come right at you at once. Like influencer marketing, we work with a brilliant individual who is here, I think, over there in the audience, Freya Lively, who worked with our teams on Universal Pictures around their global influencer strategy. And we learned a load of things with Freya about influencer marketing. I'm going to paraphrase rather than keep looking at my notes, but it was like, it works in context. It works brilliantly sometimes, but if you manage it in the wrong way, it completely fails. It's context specific. You need to be able to manage it globally in terms of quality, but not dictate the content because it will fail locally. We learn all of these things, and that's the response to the complex problem. And we still don't really know if a thing called influencer marketing works in any other sense than, of course, it should work, right? I mean, since Gladwell 20 years ago, we've all been persuaded that influencers are important. But as a thing, it's a complex problem. We don't really know in the instance when it's going to work, how it's going to work. So why isn't every brand and agency changing? Well, because it's complicated and it's complex, but also because we're seeing the collapse of the media industrial complex at the moment. No, we are. Get your Google. I don't work for a holding group, and probably next year, if I've been bought, I'll come back and tell you why it's all right. But at the moment, independently, you just have to take a look at Accenture's share price versus Publicis versus WPP versus anybody who makes their money from selling ads, from selling media. The market's lost confidence in it. It's removed from the center of the marketing mix as the core, which it has been since the 1980s. It used to be that if you were a CMO, what you did, I heard a CMO explain it to me about 10, 15 years ago, is basically I'm really good at procurement and project management. I find the best talent, agencies, and I manage the hell out of them. And that's being a great CMO. Absolutely, that was, not anymore. and great marketing organizations. Why so many people are leaving agencies and moving to brands. Why 1,600 people have moved to WPP. No, they haven't. The other way around. They've moved to Google from WPP, and 150 have gone back in the last few years. That's why there's this massive shift in the market. It's about capability. It's about being able to respond to complex problems and having that capability in-house. It's not the end of agencies. It's not the end of advertising, but it is a shift in where that power is. Why aren't they adapting? Well, there's two effects. One client described me the frozen middle of middle management who feel that they can't change. And it's not always for bad reasons. It's often because they recognize that the board have a really flighty idea of a vision and a really slim grasp or light grasp or whatever. Not a proper grasp on what they're actually going to do in digital. They're chasing the latest thing. They're chasing the latest fad rather than an actual clear strategy. But also CMOs are sleepwalking into it. Again, talking to directors and CMOs in large brands, one of the things they say is that they see the CMO just relaxing because they just won a Cannes Award for digital. So we got digital covered. No, because it's a complex problem and what worked last time won't work this time. No, because that amazing, which I immediately took a photo of, BuzzSumo graph of you can't manufacture viral. It's an accident. It's not. You can't design this stuff. What worked last time doesn't work this time. You can look like you're successful, but underneath you're the same shambling, incoherent, local markets versus center, inconsistent measurement everywhere. Influence is whatever I say it is. Mess that you were before. So you have CMOs sleepwalking and the middle frozen, either because they've not got the leadership, don't have the capability, or because they're stuck in their silos. It's all in your mind. Don't worry about it. It's all in your mindset. See what I did there? So what I'm talking about with mindset is an ability to grasp concepts, which is not easy. It sounds easy, but to grasp concepts like complex problems, like uncertainty, but being able to manage in that, like how networks work, like how influence works. These are really complicated things that CMOs, leadership, and all through the organization need to understand. We need to move from, I had this all written out, but I'm going at pace so we can have a drink. It's moving from, it's having a critical mindset about all technology. It's not thinking that you can buy a one-stop tech solution. It's not thinking that Accenture's going to come in and give you a strategy that's going to solve everything. And it's not thinking that the retained digital agency is going to come in and give you all VR headsets and it's all going to be all right. It's thinking critically about it. It's thinking like this is going to be hard graft and it's about being able to do this again and again and again, not just buying the solution. There isn't a solution, there is a mindset and there is the capability and the ability to deal with these issues. So, influencer fans. 13 minutes, suck it. Right, so influencer fans, thank you. I came here to raise questions. I came here to say that digital leadership is not easy. You're not going to be able to outsource it. You are going to need to build the capability inside your organizations. Brilliant Noise can help you with that. But yeah, there's a lot of people here who can help with that. You're a bright bunch, and you've also got a lot of staying power because you are still here. And I'm really, really grateful that you stayed to listen. I hope that there were some provocations. I hope there was some stuff that you disagree with and you want to have a massive argument about, because then at least we're not all walking around sleepwalking into the future pretending it's a bit like today but with E stuck at the beginning. Electronics, not ecstasy, because that was kind of more the Gladwell era. Anyway, thank you. A. Mayfield on Twitter, brilliantnoise.com, Brilliant Noise also on Twitter, possibly on Instagram. Let's all have a little drink and a sit down. A sit down, I think. Yes. Thank you. Bye.